is Chris Watts. I'm doing my communication speech for Brenda Armentrout, and welcome to Broomfield, Colorado. About 70 degrees, and it's awesome outside, so welcome. I'm doing my speech on relationship deterioration and repair, and this is my PowerPoint to help you. Deterioration. The relationship begins to fall apart, crumble, or fail. You have weakening bonds. You get bored of the everyday routine, and you get distractions such as work, hobbies, relationships, no matter how harmless, even at the job. You might meet a new person, and it could strengthen into something else, and could weaken the bond you have with the partner you have. You spend less time with each other, and sometimes you have no time to maintain the relationship. Sometimes in a relationship, you maybe make promises that can turn into a major betrayal, or minor arguments that could turn into things where you could say spiteful comments, which turn into bigger problems. The first phase of deterioration is interpersonal dissatisfaction, which is when you become unhappy with all the everyday interactions with you and your partner. You also begin to view your future with your partner as a negative future. And the second phase is interpersonal deterioration, which you start to grow farther and farther apart. You share less of your free time with each other. You have more awkward silences at dinner, or when you're just out by yourself, you don't talk at all. You disclose less of your feelings, and you show less affection toward each other. When you have good communication, you show more nonverbal communication, which is the majority of the messages we send, like through gestures, facial expressions, eye contact, the tone of your voice. And there's many types of forms of communication these days, and it's the most successful groundwork for relationships. A few quotes that I've done research on from Elaine Schoenberg: all relationships problems stem from poor communication skills, which is very true. And another quote from Schoenberg and Sorjan: you can't communicate while you're checking your BlackBerry, watching TV, or flipping through sports section, which is very true. With technology nowadays, you'll be on your iPhone, your BlackBerry.
Hey guys, thanks for popping in tonight. Just being kind of random here for a second, but Chris Watts actually has a YouTube channel. You can see here, it says Christopher Watts, and there's about 1,500 comments. I mean, maybe we can go through it after or not, but yeah, I just thought that was kind of random with talking about him, the speech that he gives, which is kind of eerie what happened to his family and all, but thought I'd share that with you. Anyways, we'll get started with the Mommy Doomsday, so you guys can check it out. So but yeah, if you guys want to, it's just type in Chris Watts speech or whatever, and his actual YouTube channel comes up if you want to finish the speech or not. Oops, sorry, one sec, guys. Trying to see why it's not starting here.
Your wife was murdered right in front of your eyes.
I want answers. Pretty deep into Richard Wheatley, are you?
He's why we're here.
I run a legitimate business.
I know what you are. Prove it. I will.
Your wife was murdered right in front of your eyes.
I want answers. Pretty deep into Richard Wheatley, aren't you?
He's why we're here.
I run a legitimate business.
I know what you are. Prove it. I will.
We can nail you did this to your family.
I was a damn good cop 12 years ago. I'm a better cop now, and I will take him down.
Sometimes I think it would be better just to put my kids in a car and go over the side of the cliff than to endure what's going to happen.
That was May 2018. Just a few months later, a recording was made. Lori, in an unguarded moment, talking about Joe and murder.
Coming. I'm Lester Holt. Tonight on Dateline, the dark story that's riveted the country. Mommy Doomsday. Now, exclusive new interviews, startling new information, and a new twist that will leave you cold.
I'm basically a ticking time bomb.
We've kept really private, but this story had to be told because it's not going away. It's just sick. Who does that to children? Who does that?
Did you begin to rethink what happened to Tammy?
Yeah, I did. Who is this woman that replaced my sister?
Someone said, I have a recording of Lori Vallow saying she wanted to murder your brother.
I was going to kill him, like the scriptures say.
What he suffered is unimaginable.
This is beyond disturbing.
What were they planning? What were they concocting?
It was something that could have been prevented.
I love you. Okay, baby. I love you.
There's still so much more to come. It's going to be surprising for everybody.
Here's Keith Morrison with Mommy Doomsday.
You know her name by now. Much of the world does. Lori Vallow Daybell. She's suspected of some of the worst crimes imaginable. We've been following her story for more than a year. Tracked her from the Arizona desert to the mountains of Idaho to the beaches of Kauai.
He's heading out today?
Oh, no comments.
And back to the mainland again.
Welcome back, Lori. Where are your kids?
All the way to a courthouse in Rexburg, Idaho, to answer the terrible allegations against her.
There's been a clear and alarming pattern in the defendant's life.
Of course, we know now what happened to her children. Tylee and JJ, and the horrible truth about where they were all those months after they were reported missing.
Letting family members just twist in the wind, knowing your children are dead in someone's backyard. It's inconceivable.
Lori has not been charged with murdering her children, but she is certainly under investigation for murder. And we've spent months now tracing her path of heartbreak, hearing the stories, many for the first time, of the other people who've died after crossing paths with Lori. Like her fourth husband, Charles.
He knew that his demise was going to come in the form of this bubbly blonde. In yoga pants. He knew that.
And the husband before that, he's dead too. And the wife of Lori's current husband, her name was Tammy.
I miss her a lot.
Tammy's only sister is speaking out for the first time anywhere.
She was a real person. She was an amazing, brilliant person that died too soon.
as did so many, it seems, connected to Lori and her new husband, Chad. Death seems to follow them like a shadow.
What were these two doing in their relationship? What were they planning? What were they concocting?
What indeed? Where to start? Maybe here. Phoenix, April 2018. The sudden death of Lori's third husband, Joe Ryan. This is his sister, Annie.
Do you think she had something to do with the death of your brother? Seriously?
I've wrestled so much with this question.
Joe was born in Connecticut in 1958, the oldest of 5. Annie was the youngest.
Shortly after I was born, the family just fell apart and we were divided up into different foster homes.
Not the best way to begin life, split up. Annie was just a baby when it happened. And her big brother, Joe, seemed desperate for family.
When he was in his young 20s, he was in the Navy, he organized this Thanksgiving dinner because we had never had Thanksgiving dinner together as a family. And so he took on all of the costs of it and everything because it was just so important to him for us to be together.
He stayed single all through his 20s and 30s, patiently waiting, it seemed, for his chance to become someone who wasn't at all like his absent father.
He so much would talk about how when he had kids, he was going to be there at their games, at their plays. I mean, he wanted to be.
He was going to be the reverse of your father.
Exactly. Everything the opposite of our dad.
And then, finally, Joe was in his early 40s, a successful businessman.
He called me to tell me he found the one.
Her name, Lori. She was Joe's hairdresser.
They were like a celebrity couple. They were beautiful. They were both super extroverts. So they kind of sucked all the oxygen out of the room.
Joe proposed. Lori said yes, on one condition, that Joe convert to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And he did.
He had never been a religious guy, so that was a tectonic shift from anything I had ever seen from him. But he was very, very happy.
In 2001, just months after he'd met her, Joe Ryan married Lori Cox on the beach in Maui. He was 43, she was in her late 20s. His first marriage, her third, to which she brought her young son, Colby. And something else. Lori was expecting a girl.
He was talking about wanting a little girl years before he met Lori. And so I was like, you're getting your girl.
In September 2002, there she was. They named her Tylee.
Joe was over the moon with Tylee. He was convinced that she looked just like him, and she didn't, but we all had to pretend that she did.
Joe bought a dream house for his new family near Austin, Texas, and proudly flew Annie and her family from the East Coast for a look. But during that visit, Annie could see, as she put it, that the new leather smell of the marriage had already worn off, and Joe was fighting an old enemy, his hair trigger temper.
It was their first big rain, and the roof in the living room leaked. It was like humiliating for him, and he really lost it. And it was in front of all of the kids, like punching the wall, dropping F-bombs, I mean, I didn't hate Joe. I wasn't, I was just disappointed.
So much so that Annie would begin an estrangement from Joe that would last to her
You're still under oath. You can remove your mask. All right. Thank you. Please be seated. We'll be back on the record. The court just returned back from lunch. The state had finished their direct examination of Special Agent Daniels. We're moving on to cross. Is that correct, Mr. Pryor?
Yes, Your Honor, it is.
Special Agent Daniels, if you want to come forward again, you can have a seat at the witness table. You're still under oath. You can remove your mask once you get there. Mr. Pryor, you may inquire when you're ready.
I guess I want a clarification as to how I address you. Is it as special agent or is it as agent, or how would you prefer that I address you, sir?
Agent is fine.
Agent is acceptable to you?
Yes, sir.
All right, I will try to make a point of referring you as Agent Daniels.
Thank you.
Agent Daniels, can you give me an idea of how many people were at the scene on the June 9th warrant in terms of law enforcement?
We have a crime scene sign-in log, so I would ultimately refer to that to make that assessment. Just to give an estimation, I would estimate we probably had about 50 law enforcement personnel, maybe up to 100 people.
Was anybody at the FBI designated as the person to watch family members and the residents of the home?
I wouldn't be able to answer that question.
Were you the chief officer in charge of all operations at that scene at the time?
No, sir, I wasn't.
Okay, who was?
I was the senior team leader responsible for the processing of the crime scene, okay, not over all operations that day.
Okay. Do you have any idea who was the chief officer in charge of all operations that day?
I guess I probably wouldn't be able to tell you that, no.
Okay. What's an administrative log?
The administrative worksheet or administrative log is the evidence response team paperwork that I, as the team leader, would be responsible for filling out.
And that's something that you maintain in your possession, is that correct?
Yes. Throughout the day, that would be something that I would be filling out.
And also,
there's a chance that I could have another team member or somebody else fill out that log. It doesn't have to be just me, but that would be my responsibility.
And then the safekeeping of that log would be your responsibility?
Again, that could be me. I'd be the primary person responsible for that log, but I could designate another team member to fill out that log. For example, that log is also on there's a digital format for that log, which is on a laptop. So if one of my team members was working that laptop, they could be filling out that information on the laptop.
And ultimately, at the conclusion and when the reports are written, that administrative log is something that you refer to and you provided it to the prosecutor, correct?
Yes, at the very end of the day, I would review those logs, and then I would submit that with my report as an attachment to my final report.
Okay, thank you, officer. Thank you, Agent Daniels. I'm sorry. You talked about surveying of the crime scene. There were a number of pictures, a number of photos, a significant number of exhibits, and you described what you called the pet cemetery. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, now you described that your dig area was approximately a 10 by 10. Is that what you were saying?
Mr. Pryor, I'm having difficulty hearing you again. Can you pull that right in front of you? Thank you.
The crime scene that you described as the pet cemetery, you had noted that there was like a 10 by 10 area. Is that correct?
The area that I described as the pet cemetery, once we were there, my estimation of its size was 10 feet by 10 feet square.
Okay, would it surprise you that that area is almost 20 by 20?
Objection assumes facts, not in evidence.
I'm not offering facts. I'm asking if it would surprise him whether or not the pet cemetery is twice as large as what he's suggesting.
Overruled.
Would it surprise you to learn that that pet cemetery is over 20 by 20?
I designated my own pet cemetery area, so it wouldn't surprise me if somebody else had their own pet cemetery area. No.
And that's what I guess I want to clarify, officer, and I'm not trying to imply that you're being in any way suggesting anything otherwise. You designated an area that you felt was the pet cemetery based on where you thought they should start excavation, correct?
Correct.
But if you're viewing the pet cemetery from the aerial, it would not surprise you that it was a much larger area where the soil had been overturned. Would you disagree with that?
I didn't assess where the pet cemetery was based on any aerial imagery.
Okay. But did you base the pet cemetery of the 10 by 10 as the actual area that was all dug up and where the ground had been at least disturbed?
So I made my assessment as to where the pet cemetery was based on my visual observation from the ground, and I determined a approximate 10 foot by 10 foot area. That was my designation.
And that designation was an area within the ground area that you felt was of potential significance, correct?
Correct.
So in reality, the area, there could be ground that expands beyond what your designation is. Is that fair?
That's fair.
Okay, so in simple terms, the pet cemetery you described could be much smaller than the pet cemetery that's visualized from the air, or in reality, what the actual size of it really is. Would that be fair?
Yes, somebody else's pet cemetery could be larger.
Okay. So when you designated the pet cemetery and you decided to do the dig, you uncovered 2 animals, correct?
That's what I observed, yes.
Okay. And the 2 animals were never identified, is that fair?
I observed the animals to be a dog and a cat.
Okay. And then you mentioned, and you're basing that on your experience of what you think a dog and a cat look like?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, you didn't dig up the entire ground around that area, did you?
Not the entire ground, no.
Right. And you mentioned that there were 2 or 3 other areas that could potentially be cemetery areas, close proximity to that property, correct?
Close proximities to what property?
To the pet cemetery.
Within what I called the pet cemetery, there were 2 or 3 potential graves.
Okay. Did you dig all of those up?
Yes, sir. That area was excavated.
Okay. But within the area outside of the pet cemetery where the ground was still disturbed and loose soil was evident, you didn't dig up that entire area, did you?
So the area that I assessed to be visually where I could see what I thought could be graves, that was excavated. With our data, our total station data and our Faro scanning data, we will know what areas we excavated and what areas we didn't.
Okay. And the area that you determined, and that's what's really important about what you're saying, because there's a distinction. The area that you designated as potential graves doesn't necessarily encompass the entire area where the soil in that 20 by 20 is located, is it?
I don't know what 20 by 20 area you're referring to.
Well, I made a representation that is it possible that the area that you explored, that you're describing as the pet cemetery, you designated how big that area was, but there's a possibility that the area that you're talking about is much bigger than 10 by 10 in terms of the soil that's disturbed in that area. Is that fair?
Objection. He's misstating the witness's testimony.
I'm not misstating anything. I'm asking him, he didn't dig up the entire soiled ground in the area. Is that true?
We did not excavate the entire property. That is true.
Okay.
We excavated the areas that I assessed that I called the pet cemetery and the burial 1 and burial 2 locations.
So you can't tell me to a certainty that there aren't any raccoons in the general area known as that's marked where that that headstone is, correct?
I'm not going to be able to tell you if there are other animals buried on any of the other property besides the locations we excavated.
Right. So in other words, the simple answer is you didn't excavate the entire plat of land that was dug up. You excavated what you thought was designated as potential sites for remains. Is that fair?
That's not correct.
Okay, well, why don't you correct me?
Again, we excavated the pet cemetery that I designated. We excavated burial site number 1 that I designated.
Right.
We excavated burial site number 2 that I designated. Those locations, those specific locations, are going to be documented in the data that our Pharaoh scanner documented. Those locations are going to be documented in the total station data that we collected and documented. That information is going to be provided to you. That information is going to be provided to the prosecutor. From that, we'll be able to make demonstrative exhibits, and you're going to be able to know exactly where those locations are that we excavated on this plot of land.
Would it surprise you to learn that I've been out there a number of times and I observed exactly where you excavated, and it's obviously very clear. Would you disagree that you left an imprint when you did this excavation?
I would not disagree.
Okay. Would you disagree with me that there are grounds and pieces of property that have been disturbed, or that are the ground is not solid beyond what you designated as the pet cemetery? Would you agree or disagree with that?
I would agree with that.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to get at. So based on that, with these extra grounds around what you did, what only you decided was what you felt was relevant as far as the pet cemetery, there could be raccoons within that, or a raccoon within that property, correct?
There could be raccoons
Right.
on that property.
Okay. Did you identify any other parcels of the property when you were out at the Daybell residence that also had markings and indications of other pet cemeteries on the property?
I did not.
Okay. Did you look in any other places other than the 2 sites you chose?
So the rest of that property was searched. We conducted line searches of the entire property. We had 5 cadaver dogs search the entire property. So other searches were conducted of this entire property.
Okay. And did the other searches, other than the cadaver dogs, include looking at places where the ground was also disturbed within the 4 acres that were out there?
We assessed all 3 to 4 acres of this property looking for clandestine graves.
Okay.
And we stopped with our burial site number 1, burial site number 2. And once we discovered the human remains in burial site number 1 and burial site number 2, and we recovered those remains, that was where we stopped.
Okay. So you did not go around and I'm interested in the phraseology that you use, we assessed. So I'm not really sure what we assessed means. Does it mean you looked at the ground? Does it mean you looked at the adjoining buildings? What does that exactly mean?
Yes, sir. So in order to conduct a line search, we were essentially in a line and we looked at the ground very systematically, very methodically, and we went back and forth across this property, looking at the ground, looking for indications of a clandestine grave, because that's what we're there looking for.
And explain to me what you referred to. You've used that expression a couple times. What do you refer to as clandestine? Please tell me.
So an instance where somebody or persons are trying to hide human remains in a grave. In this case, an outdoor scene, an outdoor grave, similar to burial site 1, where somebody has hidden the remains of a young boy in burial site 1, and then they've placed stones on top of that body.
Right. And I appreciate that.
On top of that body.
Mr. Pryor, I'm going to object. It's going beyond the question I asked. He's embellishing and he's adding to his answer. And quite honestly, I'm going to move the court to strike the remainder of his answer as non-responsive.
Your Honor, he asked the question. The agent answered his question. He can't move to strike that.
Judge, I asked him what the definition of a clandestine, and then he took it upon himself to decide to add all of the other facts about what he calls the pet cemetery and the other the other site. And quite honestly, it was absolutely unresponsive. What the officer's doing is he's trying to add more and more to the answer. And quite honestly, I'm somewhat frustrated with his method of avoiding answering my question and yet getting in all sorts of additional information. So I'd like this witness directed to answer my questions.
Mr. Pryor, you asked, what do you refer to as clandestine? Please tell me. I listened to the witness's answer. It's clear the witness was describing what he referred to as a clandestine grave site. I'm not going to strike that from the record.
Now, you also talked about a fire pit.
Yes, sir.
And in relation to what you described as a pet cemetery, where was the fire pit? Do you have a marker you could mark for me?
Yes. So the fire pit was
Just so
located-
the record's clear, which exhibit do we have on the easel there, Mr. Wood?
That's State's Exhibit 10.
Exhibit 10 is being looked at. It's on the easel. The witness is using a laser pointer pursuant to Mr. Pryor's inquisition here.
So June 9th, 2020's fire pit was located in this area.
Okay, what to the closer to you? It looks like there's some brown ground right to the and I'm not sure of actually the direction that is behind the house where you pointed, where you're saying there's a fire pit. Why don't you point out where you think the pet cemetery is?
So my pet cemetery that I described, that I assessed and found, is right about there.
Okay. Would it surprise you to learn that the fire pit is at least 15 feet from where you're describing the pet cemetery?
That wouldn't surprise me.
Okay. Were there any indications that there had been any burning in that fire pit?
Yes, sir. There was ash
Okay, there was ash.
inside and outside the fire pit area.
Okay. How deep was burial site number 1?
Burial site number 1 was approximately 1.5 feet. And I'm saying approximates here because I would want to wait until we had the scanner data to show the true measurements.
And the depth of the pet cemetery site?
If you're just wanting to know the pet cemetery excavation with the how deep we went with the backhoe.
No, with how deep you went before you recovered the remains.
So the remains, I would say that was burial site number 2, and I would estimate that was approximately 2 feet deep. And again, I would want to wait till we had the Faro scanner data to be more precise.
Now, when you talked about burial site number 1, you made reference to the fact that you observed a garbage bag, and then you removed the soil around that, and you touched the garbage bag. Is that correct? To sort of identify what was in there, correct?
Correct.
And I would assume that you would be wearing some sort of gloves. Would that be fair?
Correct.
Who was the anthropologist?
I don't remember her name right off. There is a report that she drafted that is attached to my documentation.
Within the pet cemetery.
Mr. Pryor, will you pull that microphone a little
Sorry,
closer
yes.
to you again?
I'm going to do that a million times. It's very difficult.
It's all right. I'll keep reminding you.
Thank you. within the pet cemetery, I had an opportunity to go over pictures and observe some of this, and I saw no sign of any ash within the soil. Would you agree?
Objection testimonial.
There's a question to that I'm leading up to, Judge. I think I ought to give some leeway to do that.
Mr. Wood?
He just testified about what he saw.
Okay,
It's
I'll
not a
I'll
party.
rephrase, Judge. There
Please
was
do.
no ash within the soil of the pet cemetery, was there?
Sorry, I missed the first part
There
of
was
that.
no ash within the pet cemetery within the soil, correct?
I didn't observe that.
Okay, thank you. Judge, I have no further questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pryor. Any redirect, Mr. Wood?
No, Your Honor.
You can be excused from the witness stand. Agent Daniels, thank you for being here today. May this witness be excused from court today. Mr. Pryor?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Wood?
Yes.
We'll allow for a moment to clean the witness cubicle. Mr. Wood, who is your next witness?
Judge Spencer Ramel for the state.
Mr. Rammel, who's your next witness?
The state would call Lieutenant Joe Powell.
Did you say lieutenant?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Lieutenant Powell, if you'll please stand here in front of the witness stand, raise your right arm and face the clerk.
Yes.
Lieutenant Powell, you can be seated there at the witness stand. You can remove your mask. If you'll please point that microphone right at your chin. Make sure that you wait for the question to be answered before, or asked before you answer. That'll make sure we're making a clear record. Mr. Rammel, you may inquire when you're ready.
Thank you, Judge. Can I have you state your name and spell your full name for the record, please?
Joseph Rick Powell,
Where are you employed?
Fremont County Sheriff's Office,
And how long have you been employed at Fremont County Sheriff's Office?
18 years.
And how long in law enforcement overall?
18 years.
And are you post-certified?
Yes.
What are your current duties and responsibilities?
I'm a lieutenant over patrol and detectives.
I'm going to draw your attention to a specific date, January 3rd of 2020. Were you working that day?
Yes, I was.
What was your assignment that day?
Help with the execution of a search warrant at the Daybell residence.
The Daybell residence. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
I believe the address is 202 North, 1900 East.
Okay, and that's in Fremont County.
Yes.
Were other agencies involved in the execution of that warrant?
Yes.
Was FBI, ERT team or ERT on scene?
Yes, there was.
And were you involved in the collection of evidence? Or the initial collection of evidence? I'm sorry.
No, I was not involved in the initial collection.
Who involved, or what agency collected initial evidence on the scene?
I wasn't inside the residence when that was going on.
At the end of the search warrant or the end of the execution, were any items found in the home turned over to you?
Yes.
By who?
ERT.
Where were you when you received that property?
Inside the residence.
How were those items packaged?
In evidence bags.
What did you do with them?
I hauled them to my vehicle and Detective Mattingly's vehicle.
What did you do next?
We transported them to the Fremont County Sheriff's Office, and I turned it all over to Detective Mattingly to log into evidence.
Were you involved in the logging of evidence at all?
No.
Judge, that's all I have for this one.
There won't be any questions from the defense, Judge.
Lieutenant Powell, thank you for being here today. You can be excused from the witness stand. Mr. Rammel, are you going to call the next witness, or is Mr. Wood?
I am, Judge.
We'll take just a moment. Who is going to be your next witness, Mr. Rammel?
Judge of the state would next call Detective Bruce Mattingly to the stand.
Detective Mattingly, if you'll come forward, stand here in front of the witness stand, raise your right arm and face the clerk. If you would, there you go.
You solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony about to give in the cause of that committee will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you.
Detective Mattingly, if you can please sit down there, pull that microphone up to your chin. We're making a record. You can remove your mask once you're seated there. Mr. Rammel, you may inquire when you're ready.
Thank you, Judge. Can I have you state your name and spell your full name for the record, please?
Brewster Mattingly. Spelling of last is Mattingly.
Where are you employed?
Fremont County Sheriff's Office.
How long have you been employed in that capacity?
I've been employed with Fremont County for 20 years.
And how long in law enforcement overall?
20 years.
And are you post-certified?
Yes.
Quickly tell the court of your current duties and responsibilities.
Current duties as a detective is to investigate felonies and to also help deputies with their other investigations.
I'm going to draw your attention to a specific date, January 3rd of 2020. Were you working that day?
Yes.
What was your assignment?
I was assisting and helping with an execution of a search warrant at 202 North, 1900 East in Fremont County, Idaho.
Whose home does that belong to?
Dave.
Were there other agencies involved?
There were Rexburg PD, FBI, and ERT.
Were you involved in the initial search and collection of evidence?
Yes. I helped with the search of the property until I was called to do some other responsibilities.
After the execution of that warrant, did you take possession of items found at that location?
I did.
And can you say anything about?
I can. Lieutenant Joe Powell had received property from the ERT and the property log with items. And we took those items, placed them in my vehicle and his vehicle, and transported those to Fremont County Sheriff's Office.
After arriving at Fremont County Sheriff's Office, did you take possession of all items collected at the home?
I did. Lieutenant Powell gave me all the items, took into evidence, and along with the evidence log sheet.
And what did you do after you received all those items?
The next step is to log those items into evidence, and I used the identifiers that were written on the badge or property and logged those into our evidence.
Detective, who has access to your evidence lab at Fremont?
Myself and two other detectives.
On a later date, did you take additional action with the items that you booked into Fremont County evidence on January 3rd?
I did.
What were those, or what action did you take?
I logged those items out of evidence that had the same identifiers on them from before. I transported them down to Salt Lake City, Utah, to the Regional Computer Forensic Lab.
And when did you do that?
That was January 15th of this year, 2020.
Did you take all items that were booked into evidence or just a portion?
I only took a portion.
What portion of items did you take?
That would be the electronics that were listed on the search warrant.
Detective Mattingly, if you'll pull that microphone a little closer to you there, we're making a record on.
Hey, sorry everyone. Technical difficulties, but anyways, what I was wanting to show you guys with the documentary Slick Crazy timeline on how what happened to these poor kids. Again, kind of relations with the Watts case and the Daybells and stuff. It's more I want to talk about innocent kids and how they're getting hurt, and they should be alive still experiencing life. It kind of bothers me quite a bit on what happens to little innocent kids. Even right now, the current case going on with North and West California. So I think these poor kids kind of get forgotten, especially, talking about the parents and the stupid decisions they made, which hurt these kids in the first place. We shouldn't even be having this conversation in a perfect world, but here we are. So just kind of with the Daybells is somehow the oldest girl, Tylee, she went missing first, and then I'm not sure on what happened to exactly, but they killed her. They dismembered her body, and they tried to burn the body up, which is horrible. And with 2 weeks later, about JJ, somehow he was killed and then buried in some sacks. In that hearing, what's happened is like 9 or 10 months later, they gosh, I'm trying to think what it's called, but a warrant to go and do an excavation on Chad Daybell's property, and that's when they find the two kids. First, they find JJ. What somehow he was buried in some plastic sacks, and they put some boulders on top of him at first to keep him there or something. But he is the first one they found, and then shortly after that, on the same day, they found Tylee, which again, she was dismembered and burned bodies. What really stuck out to the FBI when they were doing Cellbrite dump and everything, Chad Daybell made a wife to his current wife for like 30 years before she passed away or not, on seeing a big raccoon, shooting it, and then burning the limbs before they got wet. So, which is horrible. I mean, violence against kids and everything. I wish we had better ways to protect kids and what they go through. But anyways, again, with the Watts and everything, I know usually we talk about the parents and who killed the girls or not. The truth is, this should never happen to Bella and Cece. Again, they should be alive too, experiencing life and growing up and be protected. I mean, that's what parents are supposed to do, is raise kids and love them and protect them, not going out and destroying them. Whoever took out Bella and Cece, it's awful. But hey, I'm gonna drop the link. If someone would like to come and experience what they your opinion or not, love to hear it. But let me there's the link. So if someone would like to come on, you're more than welcome to. But it's just interesting with the Watts case, especially, we trying to understand who harmed the girls. Was it Shanann or was it Chris? I mean, I kind of wish we had more data on the information to know who committed this horrific crimes. Again, my personal opinion is Chris got pushed to a breaking point. Shanann was driving him nuts, and he snapped and committed this crime. But as far as his first confession with Shanann killing the girls first, or if it's Chris, I don't know. I'm still up in the air on that. But again, those poor beautiful babies, that should never happen to them. It breaks my heart. I mean, I'm not a parent, but as being an uncle, I can't see that being done or happening to kids. I mean, I don't know, maybe I just love them too much, and maybe one day would like to be a father of my own. But, parents should protect the kids, not harm them or destroy them. That's what makes me sick about Lori Vallow is, those two kids, Tylee and JJ, being under their stewardship and what she had done to them. Oh, wasn't I back yet, Bumblebee? Sorry, guys. Was I missing or not going around? Can you guys hear me? Oh, yeah. Uh, can you guys hear me and everything now? Okay. Oh, okay. Sorry. Again, I'll describe what that hearing was about. It's the cops got a search warrant for Chad Daybell's property to do an excavation. How they determined to where they could find these bodies or not. They were able to get the cell phone informations, and through pings and some type of technology or whatever, they were able to uh, decide on when the kids went missing and were at on Chad's property. And so that's when we were hearing the FBI agent how they decided to dig up what part of the property. Again, that's kind of makes me wonder with NK, since so many people are into that theory, is with her GPS and stuff, they would have been able to track her movements from her phone. But going back to the Daybells real quick, they were able to use the GPS from their cell phones to determine where Alex Cox is the brother of Lori Daybell. My personal opinion, he's the one that killed the kids, and Chad, I think, just kind of helped. I think he's too much of a wuss. But what they were able to do, use the ping and GPS to get a warrant and to go and dig up Chad's Daybell's property in certain areas. First, what they did was they found JJ. He's the boy. I think they went down a couple of feet or not. And there's some boulders, and then below these boulders is where they found JJ. I'm not sure how they died or not, but they he was wrapped up in plastic and duct tape really tight. I do know the FBI. I think they're going to do some more forensics to see who exactly um, hurt him, I guess. And in the same day, they were able to find poor Tylee. What makes me sick is with Tylee is there was a text message saying that Chad Daybell was outside, saw a raccoon, shot it, wanted to bury the limbs in the debris before it rained. And primarily, a lot of people believe they were talking about Tylee. But what makes this tragic to me is Tylee was only 16, and what they did to her, I don't think anyone knows exactly what her cause of death, but her being dismembered, her body being burned, I can't imagine doing that to a human being, especially a kid. It bothers me quite a bit. And so kind of with Monday, when KK was on, I made a comment in her chat section about how come no one's talking about the kids. And that always seems to be a conversation about the adults and the horrific things that they do, and not enough about the kids. So I just wanted to kind of remind people tonight, like things that happen against kids, it's awful and horrible, and parents should protect the kids, not harm them, regardless if it was the Watts or the Daybells. These kids should be alive again today, experiencing life, going to school, going to prom, college, and different things that should be important. And so I just, again, wanted to, kind of between um, the two different crimes that's going on right now with the Daybell still pending. Of course, the trial is supposed to be set in summertime, not being posted back till maybe fall or even to the next year, 2022. But even with December 20th, or 21st of 2020, you got the two little black boys on Orson West, and they're missing. A lot of people are saying maybe they never made it to California City, and that's still an active case trying to find two little boys that are 3 and 4. It's horrible. What this should never happen to kids. It's just disrespectful. But I know with the Watts case, it's kind of a big debate on whether who killed the two little girls, whether if it was Shanann or Chris. Um, I don't think it should never happen to those two little girls. How beautiful and sweet they were. Cece with all the energy that she had, and Bella, and just how kind she was and loving. I mean, they were two great little kids, to see them in the pictures and the photos and everything. I'm glad we have a digital imprint of the kids to remember them. I think that's great. I'm glad at least that way Shanann, did a lot of live streams or not, so we could see the kids and observe them. But the kids is what's important. They're our future. I just, again, I don't understand why people will commit horrible crimes against kids like this. It just breaks my heart. I'm gonna drop the link again if someone would like to talk or not. Love to hear your guys' opinions or not. But again, I just want to think tonight more about a connection between Daybells and the Watts, about innocent kids here. So if you guys would like to join in or not, you're more than welcome to. So there's the link. But again, it's mind-boggling to me. When I first got in true crime was with Darlie Routier, and supposedly she killed her two boys. So I guess I seem to have a fascination with crimes against kids and the parents doing it for some reason. I don't know why, but what are your guys' thoughts or point of view? Let's talk about the Watts case. Do you think it was Shanann or Chris that harmed the two little girls? Curious to see what your guys' opinions are. Again, they're welcome, please. No bullying or fighting. You have a right to your opinion. Being a bully is certainly not allowed. So, love to hear your guys' point of view. Again, if you want to come on, there's the link right there. You're more than welcome to. Again, my personal opinion with the Watts case, I believe, Shanann pushed Chris to a breaking point. He snapped and definitely killed Shanann. As far as the two girls, I'm up in the air, especially how the bodies were disposed to. Whether if it was Shanann that strangled the two little girls or if it was Chris, I'm still up in the air with that. I don't know. But this should never have happened to these kids. And so I know people are fighting for the truth, and I think the truth should be what exactly happened to Bella and Celeste. That should be the ultimate answer on whether who committed the crimes, but who harmed these two little girls. I mean, such sweet, lovely, little, wonderful girls. I mean, who won't be happy and smiling after seeing like Bella and Cece? I mean, how cute they were in the videos and stuff. I mean, they just brought a lot of joy to people. I think they were amazing little girls, and what happened to them, they were innocent. They didn't do nothing to anybody. They were just kids. Like, how can people go ahead and do this and just want to hurt kids? To a certain degree, it bothers me a little bit. No, that's true, Bumblebee. The cadaver dogs cleared the house in the truck. Yeah. Didn't they, I could be misunderstood, but didn't one of them bark in the basement or something? I don't know which dogs. I know dogs are trained for different things or not, but I thought one of the dogs reacted or barked to something in the basement by the fridge or something. I could be wrong. But again, with the Daybells and what happened to Tylee and JJ, I do believe Alex Cox did the dirty deed. Again, he had a history with Lori's second marriage. She accused her husband, Joe Ryan, of abusing the kids sexually and stuff. And so apparently upsetted Alex Cox enough or whatever, where he went, found Joe Ryan in a parking lot and attacked him with a taser. And obviously he pleaded guilty and had to do like 90 days in jail for the violent crimes that he committed. And then Lori's fourth husband, Vallow, can't think of his first name, but Mr. Vallow, the fourth husband, supposedly there was some argument or something, and he was attacking kids or whatever, or some big argument going on. These two were separated during that time. Well, supposedly, Alex Cox shot Mr. Vallow for self-defense or protection. I mean, it's just crazy with the terms and how he got away from it. But so with this, it shows me my personal opinion. It shows a history of Alex Cox and him being violent. You know, first he attacks the second husband, and then he kills the third husband. Also, there's things with Alex trying to kill other people too. Tammy Daybell, I guess, would be a good example. Tammy Daybell thought there was, some kids just being stupid, shooting paintballs at her, and actually, when it's probably Alex Cox, trying to kill her. And Melanie Pulaski's ex-husband, there was like a shot or two, and they believe it was Alex Cox. He was driving Mr. Charles Vallow, his Jeep with Texas plates is what they commented on. So with the Daybells, I believe it was Alex Cox that did the dirty deed, and Chad Daybell just had the property, and probably help him disregard of the bodies and hide them and everything. But ultimately, I think it was Alex Cox that killed Tylee and JJ. But I could see Lori, being how crazy she is, saying these kids are zombies or whatever, they're, dark or whatever, telling her brother to take care of them or be the hitman and kill these two innocent girls. And then I hope eventually they'll come up with conspiracy charges against Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow, and we can gain some more information in the trial with what exactly they determined happened to these poor little kids. It's heartbreaking to me. And Tylee was she was 16, about to be 17, moving on to the next phase of her life, going to college, meeting guys, getting educated and everything. And then for whatever reason, she gets killed just like that, for her mom being crazy and psycho over being a zombie or not helping her babysit JJ or something. It's ridiculous. JJ had autism, I believe, and so he was a little bit harder to keep under control, and what's initiated this whole investigations with the Daybells was JJ was adopted, and so his biological grandparents are from Louisiana, and they were trying to get in touch with JJ. They wanted to talk to him and see how he was doing and everything. So what basically kicked off the whole investigations of the Daybells, the Doomsday couple, was the Woodcocks calling the Rexburg, Idaho police to do a welfare check on JJ. And that's where we got this crazy timeline and everything, which is going on. It's a very interesting case. Again, I grew up in Utah, so I'm a member of the Mormon faith and the culture of it. I understand it really well. And what these two crazy people are doing, they're taking certain doctrine and twisting it into what their ideal religion is and whatever. And doing a new church called the Born of the First 144,000 or something. It's just ridiculous. But I don't know. It's kind of interesting too, like how religious they are. And then, you know, if Chris is truly, you know, religious and found God and feel like he's been repentant, I think that's great. I'm not gonna knock on him for that. But usually it's pretty pathetic. You know, I understand we have to hit a low point to turn to God to, you know, prayer and ask for forgiveness. There's nothing wrong with that. But I wish we had faith or testimony and, you know, our value systems were correct where these crimes would never happen, especially against low innocent kids. It's not fair for them. So again, to drop the link if someone likes to come on and talk, you're more than welcome to. Again, thanks for everyone being here. I appreciate it. I would love to hear your opinions on either the Daybell case or the Watts case on what's your guys' opinion. Again, please don't bully him, but if you would like to come on panel and express your opinion, I would love to hear it. Again, right now, I'm very fascinated with the Daybells case. Again, no, I agree, Bumblebee. It's sad with all these murders and what happened, especially against kids. It kind of makes me scared and worried about with so many. I think it's been about 3 months with the North and West case. Like, I don't think they're alive still. I mean, the only lifetime I know where maybe a person was recovered. Oh shoot, she's from Utah. I can't think of her name at the moment. But this girl was Elizabeth Smart. Elizabeth Smart was taken out of her house like early in the morning or something. She survived being with some crazy dude for like 9 or 10 months or something before they found her. But it just think the odds of all these murders and kids, you know, what they say is true, you know, after like 48 hours or so much time, the odds of these people being alive, it's gonna be fairly small. So, but yes, Elizabeth Smart's the only one that I'm aware of, you know, that somehow survived and didn't get murdered or killed and was able to return back to her family. So that's a very interesting case. Even with the like Susan Powell and, you know, her husband and killing the kids, catching the house on fire and killing everyone. It That's just amazing too. And he was also religious too. This the Powell guy, if I do recall. So it just it's crazy with again people and how they break down and stuff. That's why true crime's so interesting to me. Again, in Utah where I grew up, there's a kid called Colin Haney. He was 16, and it kind of makes me wonder. And this is where I like to refer to the Watts case a little bit, as you know, the father. Okay, quick story. In March of 2020, I went home to see my mom and my family. Currently, I do live in Florida, but I'm from Utah originally. In January 2020, there's a family shooting. What happened was this kid named Colin Haney shot 4 people. The father survived. I believe they're about to a point working on a plea deal at the moment. There really hasn't been a whole lot on it. But it just, what kind of makes me come to my theory is like, what pushed this kid to do this? Why, you know, why would he want to kill his family? What happened to him? Was he being abused sexually, or what happened that this kid had to go to great lengths to shoot members of his own family? And it just kind of bothers me a little bit with, and that's kind of what I wonder with again, like with Chris Watts or not, if you know he just got pushed to a certain point, snapped and killed Shan, or Shan did or not. I don't know. The Vanish Pots kiss. Oh yeah. Okay, Bumblebee. Yeah, it's an interesting case. I'm glad Elizabeth Smart and she survived, and I think she's doing pretty well, married and has kids of her own. She seems to be very religious, but people taking religion and twisting it into whatever interpretation. Even with Elizabeth Smart, this guy thought he was a prophet and, kidnapped Elizabeth Smart, and she was going to be like one of his many wives or whatever. Even, gosh, I can't think of the guy, the FLDS, he's incarcerated now. Jeff Sessions, I think's his name. Wait, no, that's a political guy. But some dude, it's a different version of the Mormon religion. They practice polygamy. The original Mormon church doesn't do that anymore. But how people can take doctrine and twist it into some sick way of their thinking and thinking it's okay, even with other cults out there where people, go and just do crazy, stupid things, and especially against kids. Even Waco, that's very disturbing with the kids. Everyone burning in that building. What happened in Waco? It just makes me sick. But I guess kind of again Monday wasn't KK's live stream, and just kind of made me wonder, like, why is nobody talking about the kids and what happened to them and how important they are? I mean, my personal opinion, I think they should be one of the main topics on why did this happen to these kids, or why do kids keep getting targeted for something they didn't do, or why are parents harming them instead of protecting them? So that's just kind of my correlation, even with the Darlie Routier, and supposedly, I believe she killed her two boys, Devin and Damon, or not. So, I would love to hear from you guys, see what your opinion is. If you want to come on the panel, you're more than welcome to. Like, even with, Madeline McCain, that poor sweet little girl. Like, what happened to her, actually? I don't know if we'll ever know or not. That's awful over, how irresponsible the parents were, to go have dinner or whatever. But, just to leave their kids alone, and some guy just came in, grabbed her, and took off. Is there any crimes or anything you guys want to talk about? Any interest? Love to hear your guys' thoughts. Again, there's a link down there. If someone likes to come up on panel or not, you're more than welcome to. Again, I apologize. Apparently, trying to show the new documentary on Daybells and software strike or whatever against that, so I couldn't show it, but it's on NBC. It's really good. I think you guys would enjoy it. So, Maddie died in an apartment, so there is proof on that Bumblebee. Is it the guy from Germany or whatever? Or do you think it was the parents that killed her? I know there was things a while ago with them dogs barking or whatever being set off in the place they were staying or something. I haven't seen that case for a while, so I'm just kind of going off my memory a little bit on it. But again, kids, they're the future. They're important. They're innocent. They their intentions are they really don't have intentions to hurt people. It's us, the adults, that do stupid things that harm the kids when they shouldn't. Oh, that's right, Bumblebee. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that. The Madeline McCain case is very interesting too, with people having different theories on what happened to her exactly. that's a whole different scenario and story to talk about too. But I guess what my point is tonight is, you know, there shouldn't be any crimes against kids or hurting kids just because how important they are and how innocent they are. I mean, I don't know again which, you know, I'm not a parent, so I don't know the daily trials of, you know, raising a kid at the moment. But why wouldn't parents protect their kids or keep them safe? If they don't, you know, have an issues, why don't they make other options like putting them out for adoption or turning them over to the state instead of harming them or killing them? It just makes me sick. Again, if you guys like to come on panel, you're more than welcome to. Um, drop the link again. I was on earlier. Lana was on here earlier too. She's got a big week of different. She's doing a different case. Rachel Del Tano. I can't remember the last name, but her YouTube name's Truth and Transparency. Bumblebee, I don't know if you should be able to drop the link to her channel if you want, but it seems like Monday through Friday, she's going to be dropping special episodes at 9 p.m. Eastern time. If you guys want to hear about that, or maybe it's the Chris Watts. I can't remember. I'm having a senior moment tonight, but yeah, she's going to be making some more videos or going live this week, so it should be good and interesting. Again, Lana came on earlier describing a little bit. But yeah, I believe Monday through Friday, and I believe she made a post about it too. But she'll be going live 9 p.m. Eastern time. Check it out. Again, there's the link. Thank you, Bumblebee. So if you guys want to check it out or follow her, she's really good too. And she articulates things really well and does a good job on taking cases and doing her own investigation on them. It's very interesting. So if you guys would like to check out her YouTube videos or not. But what are your guys' thoughts on either the Daybell case, the Watts case? If there's a different case involving kids you want to talk about, you know, I'd love to hear about it. Again, it just breaks my heart, these murders and what happens to these kids where parents kill them instead of protecting them. It's just mind-boggling to me on why people would do that. Yeah, that's very true, Bumblebee. She is about the facts, not theirs. And again, she does a good job investigating and able to coordinate these and putting a very good perspective. Again, she articulates things very well. So again, I believe Monday through Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern time, she'll go live. So if you guys want to check it out, thank you, Bumblebee, for dropping her channel in there. So if you guys want to follow her, she's, again, very well and articulates and does a very good job investigating crimes and gets to the bottom of it, finding the facts. So, it's just the psychological part of true crime and like what pushes people to commit these crimes or, you know, horrible things against like families and loved ones or whatever. Like what pushes people to kill loved ones or close friends. I don't understand, and I'm sure I'll never will. But just the, you know, the psychological part and what happened to them. Again, it seems like a lot of stuff happens to people when they're kids, and you know they have a lot of trauma growing up, and then you know sometimes they revert back to things they used to do as a kid, protect them, or they just have a poor value system, and or they just go in survival mode and commit these horrible crimes. But it's definitely interesting to me, true crime, and what people do and why they harm other people. It's very intriguing to me, especially with kids and people harming little kids. I don't think it's right. But again, I love if you guys like to come on panel, you're more than welcome to. I would love to hear your theories on the Daybells or the Watts on what happened to them. What if you fear Shanann's responsible for hurting the girls or Chris responsible for hurting the girls? I mean, that's another thing that's very disturbing too. Is those poor babies and how they were disposed. Like it bothers me even with the Daybells and how, like, especially Tylee, how she was dismembered and burned and disregarded like trash. It's not right. And I can understand Chris being worried, especially if it was Shanann, and instead of calling 911. I know they say it's the last thing, and get rid of the bodies because people were coming or not. That should never happen to those two little girls. They should be alive today. Again, my personal opinion. But maybe it could have been possible. Maybe NK did the dirty deed on the two girls, and somehow she told Chris, or Chris just knew where they were at. This could have happened while he was at work or not. Hard to say. It could even be believe Gemma could have came in and helped NK commit this horrible crimes against Shanann and the two little girls while Chris was at work. Or Chris could have done it all by himself. Again, that's why I think it'd be awesome that I know they're saying 35 seats not going to move forward unless you got 200 grand or whatever with Chris. I hopefully there's still time for Chris that maybe he can get a lawyer pro bono in a short time and help him with this 35 seats so we can have the truth. Personally, I don't think Chris is going to get out, but if he was able to have a retrial or something like that where we can get to the facts and hear exactly what happened that night. And that's kind of one thing interesting too with the Daybells, even though the case is still pending right now. Just kind of wondering when they're going to throw the murder charges on the Daybells, and we get more information in the court trial on what happens to Tyler and JJ. So it just even with I just started a new job, and I'm thankful for and able to listen to Derek Chauvin's case against George Floyd and all. It's kind of interesting too with what arguments both sides going on, whether the prosecution is going with asphyxiation, and they just had doctor specialist after specialist on that. But Eric Nelson, Derek's personal or lawyer, whatever, I think he's doing a phenomenal job with the cross examinations and making a very good argument that with George Floyd that he would overdose or having a heart attack or something. It's the argument that they're trying to make. Just how sensitive the nature of the case and everything is. I believe Derek Chauvin will be charged, but it's not going to be second and third degree murder. It'll probably be something more like manslaughter. It's just my personal opinion. I do believe that he's going to get convicted, but I don't think it's going to be the maximum charges. Again, I could be wrong. I don't know, but from what I'm hearing, you got both sides arguing on exactly what happened that day with George Floyd, and how he passed away, whether you believe, the cops did it or whether he overdosed on drugs or was having a heart attack. It's pretty interesting. But again, I believe he'll get convicted, but it won't be the max penalty for what happened. Again, if you guys like to come on and express your opinions, whether, again, with Bella and Cece on exactly who harmed them, I would love to hear it. Yes, Bumblebee, there's 4 cops. Due to COVID, I believe Derek was severed from the other 3. Originally, I think they were going to try all 4 of them, but just due to the CDC and the guidance, they had to divide it, and they decided to go with Derek first, since he's kind of, the main dude with everything on the case right now. But again, it'll even be interesting with the other 3 cops and what their charges are, if they'll be charged or not. But yes, Bumblebee, there's 4 cops involved. I mean, it's horrible that it should never happen, to Mr. Floyd, but it happens. Reality. Even when I was incarcerated, there's people within jails that died from withdrawals or overdose, and the health system when it comes to like prisoners, it's horrible. It's so many people pass away behind bars and things happen to them. I understand, there's a whole different culture in society, prison of people getting shanked or whatever to whatever moral codes or not. I mean, a good example right now would be Mr. Chris Watts. There's a kind of a prison code is, they want to get rid of people that do harmful things to kids. And so there's a great extent on keeping like child molesters and people that murder children safe. Yeah, there's a discrepancy on whether this knew he plied at all or not, or if it was either on his back or if it was actually on the neck, what they've been arguing over. Again, the prosecution had like 5 or 6 doctors coming in saying it's been asphyxiation. It's kind of what the argument's been for the defense. Maybe this upcoming week, the defense will have their own specialist coming on to refute what the prosecution's trying to say with George Floyd. But surprisingly, it's been very factual, and it's very information on how we breathe and, oxygen and everything. It's been very interesting that way. But which way the jury will go, and I think it's still up in the air. But I don't know, true crime is very intriguing to me on people and why they do the things they do. And, especially little innocent kids, it's mind baffling to me. Even there's a documentary on human trafficking, like even with, teenage girls having a hard time, trying to find their identity, who they are. And, you got some of these older guys, they'll talk to them on like Meet Me or Bumble or some type of app, sweet talk them, sweep them off their feet, you go pick them up or whatever. The next thing you know, they're being sexually abused and addicted to drugs and everything. It's just horrible. Even with the West case right now, I'm kind of curious on what's going on, what information or the cops are going to do with that investigation. I mean, my heart goes out to Orson West and any kid that's missing right now or something bad happens to them. I don't think it's right. Again, drop the link if someone would like to come on panel and talk. Love to hear from you.
even if you got good constructive ideas on how I can make this more intriguing and a better show for you guys, I would love to hear from you. So if you have any ideas or suggestions, again, all input or constructive criticism is welcome. Love to hear from you guys and see what you like, what type of content or information you like to hear. So again, I appreciate you guys coming in and taking time to listen to me. I know you could be doing something else, spending your time other ways, but I appreciate you being here, and especially if you subscribed. Thank you so much. I know with the pandemic, it's hard. You know, a lot of people mentally losing it or becoming suicidal. I think it's important to talk about whatever struggles or thoughts. And to me, true crime is a very good outlet to talk about different cases and connect like-minded people. So again, thank you. Again, drop the link if someone would like to come on panel and talk about one of the crimes or anything. Love to hear from you. Let's see what your opinions are or not. Again, I just, tonight I want to talk a little bit more about the kids and crimes against kids. I think it's horrible, like over years and decades of, innocent kids getting harmed when the parents should be protecting them. It's heartbreaking to me. So, I'm not a parent. I'm definitely an uncle, and I'm glad all my nieces and nephews are healthy and alive still. I just found out recently with one of my nieces, they were raped, and that bothers me quite a bit. A sweet little innocent girl, 15 years old, and another person takes advantage of her. It's very disturbing. I couldn't imagine my brother, the father of this girl, and hearing about it and not wanting to go out and harm that person or kill them for what they did to his little baby girl. It's not right. I wish there was a way to come up with better mental health to talk to people, to talk about their feelings or their desires instead of going out and harming kids. It's just mind-boggling to me. So I think I might wrap it up tonight. Kind of running out of things to say to you guys. Unless one of you guys want to come on and have a discussion about one of the crimes or not, I'm probably going to just wrap things up early tonight. Again, sorry earlier about trying to show the documentary on the Daybells. Apparently, I got striked. I believe YouTube had some software or some copyright software was able to notice, and he got shut down pretty quick. And so that's why I wanted to try to go with Chad Daybell's hearing and what you guys understand and described how Tyler and JJ were found on his property. But again, my opinion on that is Alex Cox, he did the dirty deed. He killed the kids. And unfortunately, even Alex Cox not here and, not being charged. He took the easy way out. But just with the Daybells, and I believe there's 4 deaths just surrounded by Lori alone, with her having 2 husbands. Well, 5, I guess, actually. 5 people surrounding Lori in the past 4 years, or maybe, well, let's say less than a decade. 5 people surrounding this woman that's dead now. Again, you got Tyler and JJ. You got 2 husbands, Joseph Ryan and Charles Vallow, that are dead. And then, well, actually 6, because Tammy Daybell, Chad's previous wife, passed away, whatever. Again, they just found the autopsy on her, and that stuff hasn't been released, but it looks like there might be murder charges coming down for him, probably. I'm not sure when that'll be announced or not, but it sounds like when they dug up her body and did the autopsy or whatever, they were able to find something. Again, this case that's pending with the Daybells, it's very intriguing to me. Of course, I'm still intrigued with the Watts case, and exactly just like everybody else, what happened to Shanann and the girls that night, whether, the first confession of Chris, whether, Shanann killed the two girls and then he killed her or not, or Chris, did it all or not. It just, it's just mind-boggling to me on things like that. And that's what I love about this doomsday coupler, where not even, I grew up in that faith and that type of culture to a certain degree. I can see their point of views, but how bad they twisted them and pointed on. I mean, calling two little kids zombies, or saying they're died because they're kids and you're crazy in the head, and whatever's going on upstairs thinking they're evil and you gotta get rid of them. It's just, it's stupid. It's mind-boggling to me. But again, I'm trying, if someone would like to come on panel, I'll try a week from Saturday, have a better presentation, something a little bit more lively. Again, I apologize. Want to show, the new documentary about the Daybells and the timeline. It's really good. If you guys get a chance, it's on NBC. Even if you go to Google and type in like "Mommy Doomsday Full episode" or something, you should be able to find it on their website and watch it. I highly encourage it. I think you guys would enjoy it. Again, there's the link down here, or someone would like to jump on panel or talk, or even if you guys want to say something in the chat section. If you have any questions or anything, I'd love to answer them the best of my ability of what I do know. Again, I just know, like from videos and other content creators about the Watts. I haven't actually gone through the discovery. I don't have the patience for that. But what I have seen and observed about the Watts case, if you have a question or anything, I would love to try to answer the best of my ability for you. But again, it just, with the kids, it's just mind-boggling to me how this happened to them and how they got hurt. I know we don't live in a perfect world, but we can always improve the world that we're in and be kind to each other and to love each other, not to, commit these horrendous crimes against each other. It's heartbreaking. I mean, even again with the George Floyd, it's awful what happened to him, but we have to take responsibility for our own actions and what we do and choices. I think is really important too. Making, good, sound, right choices. Because sometimes I understand, we have hard times, things get bad, you run out of money, your power's about to be shut off, and you do something extreme just because those survival skills kicked in, you want to live. I mean, I've been there. I understand. I've, been arrested and been incarcerated, never gone to prison, but, I experienced being in jail and going through the judicial system, and, sometimes people get railroaded. And to a certain degree, I feel like even though Chris took the plea deal, but he got railroaded. I mean, he didn't have a very good shot on his defense and the public defenders. Me, I was lucky when I was going through my DUI issue. My public defender, he was phenomenal. There was another case I had to go through with my ex-wife's wife, of her accusing me of, can't remember what she said, of like some type of spousal abuse or whatever. But in the long run, I hired this lawyer, and I won the case and got dismissed. I was acquitted from her accusations. So it is important to have a decent lawyer, and that's kind of one thing I think is awesome what Lana's doing with her website, fightforfamily.com. Is, where, if you want to help other people or donate to the website, so people that don't have that much money, but yet they can get, a chance to fight for whoever's going through the judicial system not being railroaded. Again, there's so many people, who have gave false confessions or been accused and found guilty on stuff they haven't done. It's horrible. The judicial system here in the United States, horrible for that. I don't think we have very good checks and balances when it comes to being accurate in what happens to people. Thank goodness the technology's getting better, like with the DNA and stuff. What's really interesting to me is like the Golden Gate killer, whatever his name was, like, how they were able to use DNA from like relatives or whatever for genealogy, but able to track it down to him and also convict him. There's actually it's by Nancy Grace, I think. It's called like Bloodline Detectives or something. But basically, what I just described is they'll take DNA where it's improved now. They'll try to find like a close family member, and then from there they'll talk to that family member and investigate and narrow it down to the person that committed the crime. It's very interesting, and it's getting really hard for people to commit crimes and get away with it. There's cameras everywhere. Technology as far as like cell phones and GPS. If you carry your phone around, they're gonna know your movements of where you've been or not. I know. I think once a month I get like from Google Maps, it shows like where I was the past month and places I visited or not. So it's getting harder for people to commit crimes, which is good. But again, it's important to make good choices and not to do crimes or get into bad situations like this. Unfortunately, sometimes, like even with the Steve Avery case, he got accused of a crime he didn't do on raping a girl or lady back then, and that's horrible. It just, he got railroaded for that one time, and he was innocent. He didn't do anything wrong. As far as NK, yeah, I don't think she's some sweet little innocent girl or wasn't there or not. But as far as I know, and we'll say now, I don't think she was part of it because, again, I keep saying this probably every Saturday when I come live here. As far as like with the Daybells, they were able to do a cell down on Alex Cox's phone, Lori and Chad, and they were able to use the GPS and coordinates of exactly where Alex Cox was, and they used those digital forensics to find where Tylee and Chad were and dig them up and find them. So that's my argument as far as like if NK was there or not. I think it's a pretty solid argument. Of course, there, maybe there's a plea bargain we don't know about, or she had some type of immunity, or she wasn't there at all. Personally, again, I don't think she was there. Again, she could have been a catalyst, giving Chris an ultimatum. It's either your family or me. Pick one, not the lazy dog. It's just, I don't think we'll ever know unless that 35C gets filed and we can have the truth. I don't think Chris is getting out. He might be lucky to have a reduction on sentence. That's probably not possible. Once your case is closed, it takes years, even decades, to even people that are innocent. That's one thing I'm grateful for the Innocent Project is where they're able to help people that were innocent with DNA and all, and to get them out of jail. It takes a very long time. I think the average is maybe like 15 years or something. But yet they're still able to get out and have a decent life after what happened to them. Being incarcerated for doing nothing wrong. It's just horrible. If you guys would like to jump on the panel, you're more than welcome to. Again, if not, I just feel like I'm just rambling. I don't know if I'm giving out good information or thoughts or ideas. Might wrap it up early tonight, but I would love to hear from you guys and what your thoughts and opinions. You can come on board or in the chat section. Again, earlier, I want to thank everyone that came on. Lina was on earlier this afternoon when I decided to go for a walk and just being random. I don't know if it's just a Saturday night and people are out doing things. It seems like they're starting to open places up and people are getting tired being shut down with the COVID and all. But I hope everyone's being safe and having a wonderful Saturday and a good weekend. Is there any questions or any comments? Again, do you think there's something I could do to make the stream more enjoyable for you guys? I would love to hear it. Or if there's any other cases too that you're interested in, I love to hear. Again, apologize about the Mommy Doomsday documentary. Obviously, there's some software and it got shut down real quick. It's really good. It's on NBC. I think another good one too, and actually I believe it's on YouTube. It's called The Life of the Grave Digger or something like that. Maybe I can play that next Saturday or something. You guys can watch it. It's fairly new too. I think it's about 4 months old. The documentary I tried to show, it's only like 2 weeks old. And it was aired towards the end of March. And it's got some family members and their point of view of the case and what happened and all. So, again, do you guys have any questions, comments, anything? Love to hear from you. If not, I'll probably wrap it up tonight. And so I'm not sure what else I can say or comment. So I'm just kind of running out of things to say, to be honest with you. But it has been quiet all around Bumblebee. Yeah, I know if you have a different opinion, especially with the Watts case, it's kind of with other people or content creators that come in and, you've been streaming about the same time as them, but yet they're got all these tons of subscribers, and it just seems like the whole sheet pack, they just jump on with whoever and with Shanann, who's innocent, and just sign up for him and stuff, wanting to see the bigger picture, maybe of what actually happened or not. Yes, with Tammy Daybell, they're saying she died of natural causes, but she was exhumed and they dug her grave up and they did a quick autopsy or whatever. And the Idaho, they have the results. They're still right now, so we don't know what's going on, but there's possibly murder charges coming down on Chad Daybell. I know there was a comment from Tammy and Chad Daybell, one of their daughters. They just wanted the results of what happened to their mom. Again, I guess they kind of think it was natural causes, but there's rumor and speculations that, Chad saying she died peacefully, but one of the kids or someone's making the comment like she had pink or white foam around her mouth and passed away. And so, yeah, it's just going with one of those conspiracy theories with, Joseph Ryan, how he passed away. Did, someone slip him something or give him a shot or do something? Even Alex Cox, it's just interesting. Like, did he take some type of drugs or something to pass away or what? So hopefully with Tammy Daybell, they found some results and we'll hear about those soon. Again, for a case that's kind of pending, I know some people are only interested in, cases that are closed. Again, there's different theories, ideas out there on whatever case you're interested in. Again, with the Darlie Routier case, which is interesting, she keeps claiming her innocence, saying, there's a guy that broke into her house and killed her two little boys, but yet she was convicted of killing her two little boys by stabbing them. And again, with that case, I believe Darlie Routier did do it. Maybe kind of something similar to what I think about Chris Watts is they were struggling financially. There was talk of divorce into the mix, and Darlie was not working. She didn't have any type of career or not, and so for whatever reason, she killed her two little boys. And the reason why I think on that is because when she made her emergency 911 phone call to get some help, the cops were there like within 5 minutes. There was one really close. But what she describes to the cops in her affidavit was that the guy went out a back window or door, and they went out the back gate. And what I believe she lied about, trying to cover up her crime was because there's a night light that stays on for like 15 minutes. I believe that 12 to 15 minutes or something. The cops timed it or not. And when the officers arrived there, they noticed at first his light wasn't on. And so, again, the forensics going through is they haven't found any male DNA with that case as she's claiming or not. Yes, there's a finger, that's exhibit 85J or something, that doesn't belong to any members of the family, the kids, or people going through and dissecting the case. But just my opinion with the Routier case is she lied. There was a night light, it'd stay on for so many minutes, but the cops made an observation when they got there and searched the house to secure the house, that light was not on. So that's my personal opinion with Darlie Routier. She did kill her kids. Again, makes sense to me with that light not going on. And of course, they're saying they didn't find like any male DNA or anything on with that case. Again, she's trying to get the Innocence Project and still pushing to have that fingerprint ran through the ABIS or the National Database. I don't think it's going to work for her, but even people that are incarcerated, they still do have certain rights, and that's a right that she can exercise and use, and there's nothing wrong with that. Again, I don't think she's going anywhere. I think pretty soon she's on death row in Texas. I think her time's running up, and she's going to be put to death for what she did to her kids. Again, that's a very interesting case. Whether if you guys want to study that, like the Daybells or the Watts case, Darlie Routier, it's an older crime that happened in '96, but there's some documentaries. There's like 4 or 5 out there that you guys might be interested in if you want to look into Darlie Routier, whether she killed her 2 little boys or not. Well, guys, I think I might probably wrap it up tonight. I don't know, unless you got questions or something interesting or any of the cases you want to talk about. Again, I just want to say thank you, everyone, for listening and taking the time. Appreciate, especially on a Saturday night where you could be out doing something else, but yet you're here listening to me ramble on. So again, I just want to say thank you, and I appreciate you guys. Again, with the kids, it's horrible what happened. Whether any kids, whether if it was the Routiers, Tylee and JJ, Bella and Celeste, or whatever. It just, kids are innocent and this should never happen to them. I mean, parents are responsible for protecting them and keeping them safe. It's just mind-boggling that they, commit these horrible crimes. Even with Chris Watts' cellmate, MJ or whatever, supposedly his stepson or something killed him by putting hot scalding water and then like beating him on lips or whatever. It's just not right. At least that's one thing I can say I'm grateful for. The convict code or whatever you want to call it is, don't touch the kids, leave the kids alone. And any degree, do not harm kids. So I'm at least grateful they have a moral code within even the prison system and stuff, no hands on the kids. And, the kids are the future and, they're going to be responsible for this planet. And as we age and get older, they're going to be the ones taking care of us. So I think it's important to take care of the kids and to love them and to help them grow up properly. And so, this world can be a better world. Of course, there's always going to be bad stuff happening, but we can, again, teach kids how to make better choices and have good decision skills where, there is less crime, obesity and different things. And, they can have good, healthy, productive lives and help with the environment and the emissions and everything. It's just interesting right now too, I guess, not trying to talk political or not, but with the South US border and with the change of the presidency and like how the cartel is taking kids and to keep the border patrol so busy, they're just dumping kids and leaving them and running off. It's really sad. I understand, where people live, it's a difficult life, but I think the US and other, more developed countries can, give money or resources to some of these countries in South America to help them get developed in a better quality of life and where they would want to stay in their country and instead of, taking the risk and something bad harming to them to come to like the United States or Canada or somewhere like that. Again, that's just my opinion. I'll try to drop the link one more time if someone would like to come up or make a comment or something. You're more than welcome to. If not, I probably might just call it a night. It's been really quiet tonight. I don't know if I'm just rambling on or the topic's not very interesting or not, or if, usually with these shows, I like to interact with you guys and, hear your opinions and stuff. It's been really quiet tonight. Not sure why. But we'll try this one more time here. Again, that's the link if someone would like to come on, or again, even if you just want to type it in the chat section, there's no wrong opinion. Everyone's opinion's welcome. But, again, we can be respectful towards everybody and see how things go and, have a good conversation. But again, remember the kids are the future. They're important. Let's keep them safe. And again, I appreciate you guys. I think I'm probably gonna wrap it up right now. I'm not sure what else to say. My voice kind of gets hoarse. I'm sure you can see from the past couple of times I'm just randomly talking. I know I need to do better on making videos and editing and stuff and coming up with better content for you guys. Sorry, I'm still new to this, trying to learn. So I appreciate you being patient. Again, the Mommy's Doomsday documentary is really good, and I think, if you guys get a chance to watch, I think it's like an hour and a half long or something. But it's really gives a really good timeline on the Daybells and how crazy just that case itself alone. Again, Chris Watts' case is very interesting, along with the Darlie Routier case on, with who killed these people, exactly what happened, whether, again, with Shanann, if, she killed the two little girls because Chris didn't want to be with her or not, or whether, what the theory is of the prosecution, that Chris, he wanted to have a new life and didn't want another baby, and so he killed everyone. Again, it's hard for me to see in the videos, but we don't know exactly what the reality was like when the camera wasn't on and filming. People are definitely act different when they're in public or, the camera's going, but behind the doors on what's going on is really interesting. So I don't know. If you guys have any ideas or suggestions, I'd love to hear from you. It's kind of funny. Maybe it's just the time on when I'd like to come on, it being a Saturday or not. But I was on earlier, and there was, a lot more people interacting and chit chatting and all. So I don't know if it's me or just the time when come on or the content. I'm not sure. So again, I'd love to hear from you guys and what's your thoughts. But think I'm just gonna wrap it up tonight. Hope you guys have a wonderful Saturday evening. And thanks for stopping by.